Why does Windu hate the Coruscant Guard so much? Hi! In past videos, we've stated over and over that Windu and the Coruscant Guard hate each other. Fox has more reason to hate Windu than Windu does to hate Fox. Which brings up the question, why is there animosity between them? Before we start, I just want to point out that because the Jedi outrank the clones, they always call first, unless they give their clone officers express permission to call them first. Otherwise, it's insubordination. The Coruscant Guard are military police, so they're required to call if something outside their jurisdiction is going down. As they run a prison, they listen in on all conversations, so they know in advance why, when, and where the crime will happen. But the second they call, the Jedi Council calls them insubordinate and contemptuous, meaning nothing they have to say is important. This forces the Corys to turn to the Senate more often for permission, as they have good reason not to turn them away. So you can see why nothing actually gets done if the Jedi are involved. Now back to why Windu hates Fox. Where did it start? It starts pretty early in the war at the end of the first season. Hostage crisis. We don't get to see how it happened, but we can tell that it happened. In the episode, Fox lets Bane get away with Zero the Hutt. This is likely part of a strategic plan Fox put into motion. To sum up the plan, Fox feeds Zero a tracer, hurries to the Senate, lulls Bane into a false victory, saves senators, go after Bane once he's in his safe zone, trapping him where no one will get hurt, and arrest his whole team. Fox got as far as helping the senators before the Jedi returned. In Trace and Rafa's story, multiple Jedi chase after them, but not the Coruscant Guard. We highly suspect that Windu was one of them because this is something he has a tendency to do. He also has a habit of undermining non-Jedi authority and cares little for their rules, so he, along with others, would easily mistake Fox letting Bane go as stupidity and not bother listening to him. This causes Windu to view Fox as an idiot who should stick to guarding prisoners. This assumption gets innocent people killed. A lot of you might go, but he loves the clones! Correction, he loves his clones. He has little respect for anyone not under his command and could care less if they die, especially the Corys. Another thing he does that undermines Fox happens in the last episode of the second season. He literally sticks a child in adult prison without due process. To do this, he had to go over Fox's head. It doesn't matter if the child attempted to murder you, you don't do that. Juvenile detention centers and therapy exist for this very purpose. You can tell that these things exist in the show, despite the thousands of children on Coruscant committing crimes, Boba is the only one locked up in there. Fox literally got stuck babysitting his grieving baby brother because Windu could care less. Sending Boba there, a 13-year-old child clone, is a death sentence because the other prisoners wouldn't hesitate to kill him or worse. Fox likely tried to chew him out, and Windu refused to listen, so Fox turned to trying to protect, train, and rehabilitate Boba in spite of the circumstances. He would have succeeded if it wasn't for Windu's fake Ardeen plan. The generator bombing absolutely shot Fox's reputation because he unintentionally let the bombs in. But as it wasn't the only place bombed, Fox could keep his mistake to himself and make sure it never happened again. Unfortunately, the Jedi would only care about the ones Fox was directly responsible for, much like the audience, and not trust him with anything important, like the fake Ardeen plan. The Jedi literally had multiple people go under their noses and get away with murder. And yet, they believe that Fox should be held accountable for far less. The Reiko Hardeen incident. Windu, Yoda, and Obi-Wan come up with a plan to sneak Obi-Wan into jail to befriend Moralo Eval so that they can find out how he plans on capturing the Chancellor. From the Jedi's point of view, it seemed brilliant, but they made multiple mistakes. The biggest was not telling the Corys. Windu thinks the Corys would blow Obi-Wan's cover and/or doesn't know that he is legally required to do so. So he doesn't tell them anything. Plus, it wasn't supposed to last more than a few hours. Bane changed that.
Yes, sir. All sectors have reported and are now back under control.
I just got word. What happened?
At the prison. A riot there was.
Worst one in years, sir. More than a dozen prisoners are dead. We've been tracking 3 suspects that have escaped through the crematorium. We think we can apprehend them at the spaceport. That's their most likely way off the planet.
Thank you, Commander. But you can call off your search.
But, sir, we have ships in the area.
That will be all, Commander.
Yes, sir.
All of this could have been gone more smoothly with less pain had Windu bothered to talk to him, but no, only the Chancellor was informed. Fox, after having time to examine the crime scene and discover the truth, would have gone to the Jedi for answers and discovered that it was Windu and Yoda's plan. Once gotten an explanation, he would have blown up in their faces and shown them what power he actually has over them. This scares Windu, and it makes Yoda feel even guiltier because he broke their trust by allowing Fox's men to needlessly die. This is a job that the Coruscant Guard was supposed to be involved in to the fullest extent. Not only that, but when you put someone undercover in a prison, you are legally required to inform the prison staff and warden about your spies so that they don't get killed or visit indefinitely. Ow! That's my ear! You calm down? Calm down. We see the aftermath of this in the form of Fox sending 4 Quarries with big guns to work alongside him, which was never in the plan.
As you can see, we've mapped the Chancellor's route to and from the festival stage. We know where he'll be at every moment from the time we land on Naboo.
What security measures are in place?
The Naboo Royal Guard will have armed sentries at all entry points on the palace, and the stage itself will be sealed off by a ray shield for the duration of the event.
He's clearly informed them on what's going on, but it's still reluctant to work with them and is literally forced to repeat words that only Fox would say.
With all due respect, Chancellor, where your safety is concerned, there is no such thing as overkill.
He knows he's at Fox's mercy because of the line he crossed. Windu broke multiple laws to do this, so Fox had full authority to arrest him right then and there, but Fox is more likely to wait until the end of the war because he's still important to the war effort. From the morgue technician's commentary, no clone actually died until Obi-Wan reached the incinerator room.
Yeah, me too. Give me droids over this. After what just happened up there, we'll need more room in here.
Hence to why Fox sent 4 men to keep an eye on Windu and the Chancellor. They're just there to make sure things actually get done. Plus, the Quarries are the only guards who can be trusted because they were never meant to be there, so the baddies couldn't account for them.
I'm here in Theed.
So Dooku's plan is still on?
Yes.
How are they planning to attack the Chancellor?
3 of the bounty hunters are disguised as Senate guards.
Windu still trusted the sentries over the Quarries despite this.
All right, you two, take the Chancellor to that speeder and get him out of here. I'll find him.
If they had talked to Fox about the plan, they wouldn't have needed to kill Obi-Wan. Literally just giving them the info they knew from overhearing Yval telling Bane his kidnap plot days before was all they had to do.
With the leader of the Republic as our hostage, we will demand the release of all Separatist prisoners. If our demand is not met, the Chancellor will be executed.
Plus, reassuring them that they're fully prepared for Bane's escape attempt, which they were, so they knew that as long as Yval didn't escape, Palpatine wouldn't be used as a bargaining chip to make Fox release all the Separatist spies and generals he had locked up.
Count Dooku, I apologize for my delay.
Your careless delay could have ruined my plan, Yval.
In other words, if Yval stays, everyone stays, so you can tell that Fox had everything under control. When Anakin and Ahsoka were conducting the temple bombing case, Windu tells them,
It is imperative that the truth be found soon. There are whispers that the Senate will have a meeting to decide whether the military police will need to become involved in the investigation.
He refers to them as the military police, so he might understand what their job is, but doesn't want to acknowledge their authority. Why does the Senate want them to take over the case? To find out who killed a bunch of civilians and clones. Literally their job. Windu makes it very clear that he doesn't want their involvement. He, along with nearly every Jedi in that room, doesn't want them solving this case as they might pin the crime on an innocent Jedi. They're not impartial like Anakin and Ahsoka. I used both my hands, but it's a kitten on my lap.
You can let go of the kitten.
They're not impartial like Anakin and Ahsoka. You can tell which Jedi has faced Fox's wrath based on their body language. Tense, anxious, unlike the day before where it was just concern. A few of them very much fears what Fox will do if they let him into the temple. Ahsoka believed that the Senate doesn't have authority to send the Quarries in to take over the investigation. Windu, because of the Reiko Hardeen incident, knows that the Quarries can and will take over the case.
Clones died in that explosion. Maintenance clones working on the gunships as well as civilians. The the Senate tends to take notice of these things, no matter where they happen.
The Corys are no strangers to bombs, little or otherwise. They would know how nanodroids work, so they would have suspected Letta of feeding it to her husband once they found out what was left of him.
This is all that remains of Jakar.
His hand?
The rest of him exploded.
Because he was so close to the bomb?
Because he was the bomb.
Checking her house, they would have learned that they had to move to a cheaper place just to survive, meaning Letta is poor. Because she's poor, she wouldn't be the one to buy the nanodroids, so they would follow her, follow that to her accomplice.
Jakar is dead, and now you're trying to blame his murder on me.
Nobody ever said he was dead.
But running proves you had something to do with the bomb. You don't know what you're talking about. People blamed Jedi because of you. People were killed because of you. You can't prove anything.
Did you feed the nanodroids to Jakar? You will answer me. Now!
I did feed the nanodroids to Jakar. You set up your own husband to die? You're dealing with things you don't understand.
Ahsoka and Anakin never asked where she got the bombs, an important detail. But as it was the Jedi's investigation and they closed it, Fox isn't going to be able to touch it unless it gets reopened. Then comes Ahsoka's arrest. Yoda assigned Plo and Anakin to take some clones to hunt her down. Windu only agreed because he believed they would take clones from their own units. Because Yoda didn't specify what clones, Plo, because of his respect for the Corys' position, was able to convince Anakin to take Corys because of their insane tracking skills. Yoda doing this intentionally or not is up for debate. They only take their commanding officers as Plo knows Fox trusts Wolf and Rex is the only clone Anakin trusts at the moment. This puts Fox at an advantage as he's free to follow a lead the Tarkin and the Jedi missed. If he had ordered outright that they take shock troopers, Windu would have immediately shot it down and ordered the Plo take men from his own unit. There is no way Windu is willingly going to let Fox exercise his authority. Windu would learn after Ahsoka's trial in a report that Fox wouldn't let Anakin in to see her, him assuming that Anakin was completely reasonable in his demand and Fox kicked him out.
My Padawan is in there. Now step aside.
General Skywalker, Admiral Tarkin has ordered that no one be allowed in there.
I don't care what she's accused of.
Let me in.
Sorry, sir. The Admiral's orders stand. This is now a military operation and under his jurisdiction.
Making Anakin an ally and Fox an even bigger problem. When Fives gets loose on Coruscant, the Jedi are left out of the case. He didn't need anyone's permission to give this order. Fox did this on purpose as Jedi tend to get in the way, and they're witnesses. He needs them to sit and talk to him. He can't just have them gallivanting around while one of his brothers is running around out of his mind. Plus, their investigative skills suck, because Jedi don't know any better, nor care to understand. They think it's odd that Yoda suggests an investigation of their own. Windu convinces them to go under the Coruscant Guard's nose to find out if there's a plot involving the clones, something they should tell Fox as it's part of his investigation. But instead they only tell the Chancellor and have him help. As both a victim and a witness, Palpatine is the last person who should be dipping his fingers in the case. Windu's even convinced that they will willingly kill Fives the second they see him.
We will investigate quietly undercover. We must make sure this clone is not killed.
As if Fox was just a bloodthirsty control freak. He looks to Anakin as an order for him to lead the investigation. The same Anakin who'll believe anything the Chancellor says and will fight Fox if he gets in the way. The hours-long uncooperative silence from both the Jedi and Chancellor is what gets Fives killed.
The probe droid that was following Fives, when it was able to finally identify him, in his file it said 5. It was never corrected. Which means they never talked to anyone who actually knew his name.
Had they talked, Fox would have known Fives was sick and used a much calmer method to catch him. Fox has faced people who are both sick and or on drugs and knows how unpredictable they can be. Technically, Fives and Anakin were the only ones who told him anything about what's going on.
You have gone too far, Fives. The Chancellor is incapable of what you claim. He is! I swear to you, General,
You have no idea.
Despite the Jedi's investigation into the clones, they came up with nothing. Shocker. Palpatine came up with a story of Parasite making clones crazy after having examined Fives and Tup's bodies. He didn't even hand them an autopsy report, and they still believed him, except Yoda, who sensed that something was off. It's important to point out that both Windu and Yoda have a nasty habit of keeping secrets, like the presence of the Sith.
Blind we are, with creation of this clone army we could not see.
I think it is time we inform the Senate that our ability to use the Force is diminished.
Only the Dark Lord of the Sith knows of our weakness. If informed the Senate is, multiply our adversaries' will.
From those who need to know things like this. This is why people die in this show. Finally, how all this hate bites all the Jedi in the butt. Because of how much power the Jedi hold, they cannot legally take down the Chancellor. The Corys, because of their position, have full authority to arrest the Chancellor if he steps out of line, but they would need irrefutable proof of his crimes. Windu convinces the Jedi to go in on their own and take him down if he does not relinquish his emergency powers instead of talking to Thyre about it. This in turn makes the Jedi look like traitors to the public. If they had talked to Thyre and cut him and brought them with him, Palpatine would have activated his chip. They would have cut Thyre down in defense and be seen as and still be seen as traitors. If Windu didn't hate the Coruscant Guard, then he would have let Shaak-Ti tell the clones about the chips and Fives' investigation. They would have investigated it, caught Fives alive, and sent their findings to all clone medical stations. Palpatine would be a lot more reluctant to give the kill order on Fives, as it would tip Fox off. On the other hand, he would try his best to cover up his involvement until Fox catches him in a lie. The evidence would lead to Palpatine, and Fox would have the authority to arrest him, making Order 66 impossible, making the rise of the Empire less likely. So why does Windu hate the Corys? They don't have a Jedi to lead them, so he thinks that they're unruly, undisciplined, and that guard duty is the only thing they understand. This in turn makes him believe that they're mindless, insubordinate drones, and that someone is going to get hurt if a Jedi doesn't intervene. Which is the exact opposite of what's really going on. Fox turns around and throws back in their faces the mess they've made, showing off the fact that he's not only highly intelligent, but also has the power to arrest them. Fox makes it perfectly clear that they crossed a line and he's not taking their trash anymore. Because of this, Windu's opinion of them changed from the Corys are stupid and insubordinate to smart and dangerous with authority. For someone who believes they're always in the right and refuses to accept any responsibility, this is terrifying. Fox knows Windu disregards both the law and the lives around him, making him dangerous. And that's what we have. Bye! Please leave a comment and subscribe. Bye! That'd be funny if it just held her on my arm the whole time.